Hi, Rach.
Hey, Kristen.
How you doing?
I am so good.
Good.
Yeah. I was going to
Wow.
say...
You really are just gobbling up your mic,
I
Jason
know.
Kelsey, there already today.
Yes. I was going to say I was reeling off of my birthday weekend, but then I almost said wheeling, and then I just stopped.
You need to get yourself together.
I do.
Wait, excuse me. It was your birthday. I'm sorry.
It was.
I'm jumping in here.
No, it's totally fine.
This is the perfect segue.
I love
You
this.
guys, we have a guest.
We have a guest.
No. I just,
No, this
happy
is perfect.
birthday. What the hell is wrong with me? Oh my
Nothing.
God.
I didn't say anything. Yeah, I turned 42 on Thursday.
Well, let's welcome our lovely guest
Yes.
here.
Yes.
First of all, welcome.
Welcome to Two
Thank you.
Mystic Mamas.
I'm so excited for this. Thank you guys so much. I'm honored to be here. Truly.
Oh man, this is so exciting to have you here. We're virtual. Everybody, we have Cat Janisko, also known as the Pennsylvania Junkie.
Yes.
So
Woo,
exciting.
you did so good. Yeah, Nabisco. Yeah, I love that. Janishko.
Yes.
That's it.
Yeah, I'll spell it,
Yes.
everyone.
Thank you guys.
I found Kat on Instagram and I followed her and fell in love with her content and what she does because we all live in the state of Pennsylvania. It's such an incredible state. It has so much to offer. And one of Kat's many talents is to go around and discover it for people either within Pennsylvania, but also for people outside of the state, outside of the country that have an interest to come and check it out.
Love it. It's like so funny when I tell people this. They're like, what do you do for work? I'm like, and I never know how to really explain it. I'm like, I talk about Pennsylvania and I just get the same look every time. Like, why?
Yes. I think titles are hard especially when you go out on your own and because you've essentially created your own dream. Like you've put something into the world that didn't exist before. And so, you know,
it's pretty wild.
Yeah,
you guys are doing that too. You know,
yeah, being a creator is a wild world.
mm-hmm.
Well, and you know what? It's crazy because we're all creators. I feel like if we channeled more of that energy, we would create a life that we want to live and lead.
Mm-hmm.
But people are so crippled by fear.
Yeah, the belief that you have to fall in line and follow conformity and do what other people tell you to do, it becomes a safety net.
Yeah. Yeah. It's like security. And I'm putting that in air quotes, but
Right.
it is. It's like a faux security. Yeah.
Will you tell us a little bit about your journey to getting to this space as a creative and what it's like to be a Pennsylvania junkie?
Yeah. I mean, I've always been a creative person, even as a kid. Like school, textbook type of stuff didn't really work for me. I've always been I feel like you guys have that energy too, for sure. But like the projects, the hands-on stuff, that made sense. I even in college studied broadcast journalism. You got to work with a camera. Like that kind of stuff just makes sense to my brain. It's like scratches my brain in the right ways. And so, Pennsylvania Junkie, I actually had a business years ago, a cosmetics business. And in 2018, before TikTok was really even like 2020 TikTok, when everybody was locked up at home and then they started finding out about it. This was like when TikTok was first being presented. And I'm like, what is this? So I downloaded the app and I was like, well, I guess I could promote my products on TikTok because there are a ton of people here. I started noticing as I'm scrolling through this feed, the doom scroll. One day, I've always been a nerd about Pennsylvania. Like I've always loved PA. I competed in Miss Pennsylvania for like 10 years. My parents convinced me. And I actually, yeah, dude, I loved it because I got to travel everywhere. I love to travel. So love to travel, love to meet people, learn about them. That's my thing. And ever since I was a kid. And so I saw this video one day and the audio on the video, it went, Pennsylvania check, and all these people were in the comments like so and so county represent, like, and I was like, oh my God, I'm so PA proud right now. I love this. This is amazing. And I didn't realize there was such an audience from PA. Like I'm like, oh my God, this is so up my alley. And another thing is I've lived all over the state. So I grew up born and raised in Western PA, went to school in Central at Penn State, and then I've lived in Southeastern. Well, I lived in Southeastern for like almost 10 years. So I noticed the differences in dialect, in people, in energy. And I'm like, this is like 3 damn states in one. Like, this is crazy. And I noticed that a little bit during my time in Miss PA, but like I really noticed it when I started living in these places. You really start to pick up on all the different kind of nuances and just the people. I mean, it's truly the people that make PA the most unique. There's so many traditions. There's so much to learn. And it's just such a quirky place. And I'm like, oh my God, I need to start sharing more about this. So I started posting skits. That's kind of how it started. I started pretending I was my mom, saying like certain words like towel, but she says it's like towel. That's the Pittsburghese type of accent. I was like, I don't know if anyone's going to get this, but I'm posting it because that's my experience. And again, people were like, oh my God, yeah, that's exactly how my mom says it. So it started becoming this community. I don't even know how I changed it to Pennsylvania Junkie. One day I was just like, well, this makes sense to me. So I'm just going to change the name and screw the cosmetics business. This is way more fun to me. And that's the birth of PA Junkie, like back in 2018, really. And it wasn't a business then by any means.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
So fun.
And then it's like you kind of learn as you do. Like, what would you say are some of the highlights, but also at the same time, some of the most challenging parts of doing what you do?
Oh, the challenging part is consistency. It is for everyone.
Yes, I feel that.
I am a free mover. Like I operate on emotion a lot, on how I'm feeling. Yeah, you guys know. If I'm not feeling up to it, I'm not going to do it. Like I'm just not going to, I will not work against my body in that way. That's just why corporate never worked for me. Because it's like, well, we have a meeting at 2. I'm like, well, I'm tired. I don't want to do this. Yeah. You know, I'm not ready to do a meeting at 2. So it was just, it didn't work for me at all. And in this business, whatever you want to call it, this industry space, it's like, if you're not posting content, like, what do you have? So it's like, you got to keep up with it. I actually never really truly sunk into that. And I think that actually helped me a lot because I'm operating from a place of frequencies. So I'm like, when I'm in my high frequency, then I will share, then I will create. And it's like that changes the game. And so many creators had reached out to me over the years, like, oh my God, my one video didn't get this many views. And I'm like, so I just don't care. Like, I never really cared about that stuff. It means something to me more so now because it's my business and like my life kind of depends on it, my lifestyle, but I still don't obsess over it. I don't get desperate over that stuff. So I'm like, you guys got to drop this narrative of like, oh, I don't have any views. Yeah, you do. You had like 100 people watching that. You don't know that's cool. Great. But it's like, are you doing it from a place of joy? So you just won.
Yes.
You just won.
Right.
Because you just did something that brought you joy. That's a great energy to bring forward.
Yes.
So that's how I've always functioned.
We talk about that a lot too with our own social. We're talking about this recently, and I'm like, this is just about creating a community so that when people find the podcast and then they find the social, then they see who we are. They can scroll back, they can watch other stuff. And that's where the consistency part comes in for me is like, hey, we're showing people who we are consistently. We're consistently showing up as our authentic selves. And sometimes that looks like creating a whole bunch of content and batching it once. And sometimes it's spur of the moment. But the views don't matter. And I mean, I've personally been in business almost 14 years now with my photography business. I've never had a massive following, but I've always had a very loyal following. I have been able to see that like it's the quality of the people that you're attracting that matters way more than
the quantity.
Than the quantity and the views.
It's
for sure.
So I love that you said that because that's so true. And you have no idea the ripple effect when you create that foundation. Those are like your OGs. And like, I always say the PA Junkie OGs, like they're my peeps, you know, like they've been here from day one. And I like get emotional even thinking about them because it was always back in that time in 2018 through like even through 2020, those were just like the real days of there's no pressure around this. I had a job that I was working. It was really truly like that was just a passion thing. And it still is. Don't get me wrong. I only operate on, like I said, what brings me joy. But that was just like a different time. And, we were all just kind of enjoying it fully together. There was no like political comments and all this bullshit being thrown on my videos. You know how they say like the larger you get, then you get all that kind of low vibrational shit that comes through. We didn't really have that then. And I was like, I like that. And I tried really hard to keep it that way for a long time, actually. I did this interview with my hometown newspaper, and he was like, "Are you going to make this a business?" And I'm like, "No." This was years ago. I'm like, "No, I don't want to do that because I don't want to ruin this vibe." The thing is, I had to teach myself, like, Kat, you're not ruining the vibe. You're always going to have the vibe. Just let it go.
You are the vibe.
Exactly. Like, just be in your energy and forget about the other people. Like, I blocked someone the other day because they were negative.
Totally.
I was like, bye.
Yep.
You're out.
Good
Like, if I see it and you're negative, goodbye. Like, you're out. You don't belong here. Thanks. Yeah.
I love
exactly.
that.
Yeah. See ya.
I think it plays so well into what we're talking about today.
Totally. So yeah, we have Cat here because she's talking all things Sagittarius with us, and we are doing the zodiac in order. We've started that kind of with me, I guess, was the first.
Scorpio season was our first the zodiac series.
Yeah. Just wanted to say before we get into all things Sagittarius and get into the zodiac and some of those questions, the thing that I loved, what you just said, made me think a lot about when we did a couple episodes back, it was a 2-parter where we talked all about gardening and planting seeds and the metaphor about when you plant a seed in the ground, all of this magic happens in the dark and in the soil and the root system and all of that. And it takes a long time, even when it comes light side, right? And it's starting to grow, the fruit takes years to come about. And I think that's just the beautiful part of what you're doing and what we're doing is, at least for me, I know that I struggled in the beginning to be like, where's the fucking success? Like, we're doing all this work. And it was a lesson in patience to just say, you are, and you will reap the fruits of your work. It just is going to take time to grow in a beautiful way because we want strong roots. We want a beautiful tree, whatever that is, apple, peach, pear, fig, I don't know, lemon. Like there's so many
figs. I love it.
So many trees that I'm like, what tree do I want to be? But I feel
Lemons.
like what you're saying is so true.
I have a lemon tree I haven't named yet that just moved into my house. I think her name's going to have to be Cat.
Stop. This is so weird. This woman's living my dream. That's such an honor. That's such an honor because I have wanted to move to Italy and have a lemon tree for I'm getting a damn lemon tree. Yeah, I want to make lemon drop martinis with it too, because you gotta, lemon shallot. Like, I want to do that.
When I get lemons out of this fucking thing, you can have some to make lemon
That's
shallot.
Amazing.
Oh my God, we're manifesting. I think we're gonna have to then go have another podcast episode
in Italy
with Kat drinking one of her lemon drop martinis.
Yeah, until I get stopped in customs with all my lemons, and they're like,
"You
what
are
is
not
this lady
allowed
doing?
to bring these into the country."
No, listen, that's, you know what you're saying is it's already going to happen.
Right.
Because if it's already in your mind. So this is what you were saying. It's so true. And I learned to stop like controlling it. Like, I remember I had a session with an energy healer. It was back in 2020. And she's like, you don't need to know how. And I'm like, yeah, but I do. Mm-hmm. And she's like, no, Kat, you don't. She's like, you're here to enjoy. Right. You came to the planet to enjoy the ride. It's a roller coaster. It's fun. And I'm like, yeah, but I feel like shit right now. And she's like, I know, but it's in these moments where you have to be like the most grateful. Yeah. Like, this is where you're like, no, this is good. I'm sinking into the resistance. I'm just going to let go, let it go. And I'm telling you, that changed my whole trajectory. Yes. You guys know this, when you start letting go, things happen so fast.
They do.
It's like, holy shit. I just can't even explain it. It's crazy when you shift your energy into just a place of gratitude and acceptance. Like, I had a bad moment the other day and I don't even think that way anymore. I don't think like, oh my God, I know you guys feel this too. I don't even think like, oh, what a disaster. You know, I used to be with someone who would say, what a nightmare about everything. And I'm like, I'm literally pushing that energy away physically. Like, no, because I think, okay, I don't know what I'm learning here, but I'm learning something.
We always say that. Yeah.
Exactly.
Life is happening for us. It's not happening to us.
Exactly. Like, it's a totally different place to be.
It is. And you have to like just laugh
from us. I mean, that's been like my new iteration of that is not only is it happening for us, but it comes from us. So to your point, when we are releasing, when we are growing, when we are allowing ourselves to live in our joy, then all of those seeds are planted and life comes from us.
That's so true. We create it.
Mhm.
It's like literally all
Right.
you need is yourself and your energy, and whatever you're projecting outwardly, I do believe you get back. I think if you
Right.
want great people in your life, honest people in your life, people who share joy with you, then be it.
Then be it. Exactly. And
That's it.
Yeah.
And when you find people that don't, then just establish a nice boundary.
100%. So I'll share this. When I was a single mom in it, and I was kind of thinking about what I was going to do in life later, right? And I had fully come to the place where I was like, you know what? I'm just going to stay single until my daughter's like 18. I'm just put my head down and whatever. And during that time, I had another friend that I was talking to who was kind of going through some relationship things. And I had given her the suggestion. I was like, write down all the qualities that you want in a partner. I then took this back of this cork board that I have that's a vision board. And I was like, I'm going to follow my own advice. So I wrote down all the qualities that I wanted in a partner. And then I took it a step further and I put that in a note in my phone. And I said to myself, if I'm going to find a partner that has all these qualities, I need to make sure that I have all these qualities. And then I started revamping my life in a way that was like, okay, if I want a partner that's loyal, am I being loyal to myself? Am I being loyal to my friends, my family? And I just systematically went characteristic through characteristic. It was not long after that I met my now husband, that I swore I was never going to like do anything till I was 18. And he's my best friend. He is my soulmate. And it just happened though. It happened because I was working on me. Mm-hmm. And I took the time to create something that I didn't even know I was creating. I didn't know how. It wasn't intentional, even though it was.
Well, you took the pressure off of it.
It's amazing.
Right.
Yeah. Right. And the fact that you had the self-awareness, if more of us had that self-awareness, I think maybe we'd be a little more successful in what we really want and what we desire. We would actually know what we want. You know, I think a lot of us don't even know that.
No.
Like, we're like, what do we really want? Like, what do you really want? I had asked myself that recently. I'm like, what do you really actually need and want?
And sometimes that can take some serious work. Because again, like going back to what we were talking about in the beginning, where we get caught up in the systematic beliefs that this is when you need to do this, and this is when you need to tick this box, and this is. And
did you just say tick ticks?
Tick ticks.
She said tick dicks.
Dick ticks. This is when you need some dick ticks.
Hashtag tick dicks.
If you see a dick with ticks on it, do not
engage.
Men on my vision board.
Men, look out for your dicks when you're hiking in the woods.
It is Western PA.
I mean, it is.
It is Western, exactly.
It
just makes
that was like the worst fucking vision in my brain now.
No, it really is so bad. Oh my god. I'm sorry for that. I really am sorry.
Once again, Rachel strikes. I don't think we've ever had a podcast where you haven't been like, what the fuck did you just say?
It's a part of our charm,
It
Rach.
is.
You guys have that. I love it. That's like my one friend. She's like, she just shakes her head now. She's like, what the fuck is she talking about? I'm like, I don't know.
I get it all the time.
So random. Love it.
It is so good.
Anyway, back to tick dicks.
Back to tick ticks.
I don't even know what I was saying. I can't even remember.
What? Tick ticks? Like ticking the boxes, maybe?
So that's what I was saying, is just basically, I find that like kind of questioning these systematic beliefs that we have been taught is really great. But it does take some effort that's where I was going with this, was it takes some effort to really sometimes answer that question of what do you really want? Because we get fed what we want all the time, right? So like social media and these dopamine hits all the time is like, oh, I want that too. Oh yeah, and that. And then when we sometimes get that, like I've had plenty of friends that have received what they said they wanted, and then they found themselves in this really terrible place where they're like, I did not fully think that through. But again, it's like, well, you have to learn this lesson. You have to walk this path. You have to get on the other side of this. But again, answer that question then. What do you want? And really take the time to answer that. Go into a meditative state and just ask the other side. Be like, hey, I'm here. I'm having this human experience. I'm struggling because this does not feel great. What am I missing here? Like, what am I not connecting the dots on?
Off of that, like social media, we need to stop allowing social media to control our Instagram. As I sit here with an account, I am not grateful for it. I really am. But it's like, we have to stop allowing social media to control our every thought. And I think it truly is designed to take us away from heart and our own voice. Because you see these videos and you're like, holy shit, oh my God, my relationship is bad. Or like, oh no, that person, I can't trust them. And it's like, just stop. Like, listen to yourself. There is no force in this life that can tell you how you actually feel. Stop letting these experts and whatever. Everybody is seeing through the lens of their experiences too. Whether they want to admit it or not, they are. So like, stay in your zone, self-sovereignty, and listen to yourself and sit by a fucking lake and reflect. Like, this
Words
is
of wisdom, guys. Sit
like,
by a fucking lake. I agree 100%.
I think that's why your account is also so great, because you are pushing people to get out of their own way and go experience these amazing places in nature, in like the world where there's so much magic that can happen, not on social, right? So it's like that, this goes right into, it's like the balance of social serves a purpose, but it also can be a curse if you don't remove yourself and you get out and you experience real life with real people.
Yeah, and I mean, this really wraps back into the Sagittarius energy, right?
Mm-hmm.
The Sagittarius energy is all about exploring and being curious, spontaneous. And you are a Sagittarius sun sign, right?
Yeah. Yes. I'm fully emphasis on the curiosity. Like, I'm definitely the questions girl. I'm like, what about that? Like, I'm always asking questions. I very much embody the Saggy curiosity. I've always been like that. I mean, I worked as a news reporter. That was great for me because I can get the questioning out. And and a lot of people don't receive that sometimes. There's this quote that's like, Sagittarians are meant to understand everybody, but nobody's meant to understand us. And it's a problem for us. I don't mean to sound like a victim, but it makes sense because every Saggy person I know is such a learner and such a student, myself included. So when we talk to people, we're gathering all this info. We're like, oh, okay, well, they see it that way. That's interesting. We really try to understand people's perspectives, sometimes at the sacrifice of our own needs. So it's like, then we get into these situations where and a lot of people do this. It's not just a Sagittarian thing, but we really, really like go deep into how people think. Like, I saw a post today and it was like, Sagittarians are the psychologists of the zodiac, because we really try to understand and we question and we're curious. And it's a beautiful thing, but I would like to reduce it to it's a blessing and a curse if you don't have it under control. Because then you're like, oh, well, they think this way. We're just very open-minded. And sometimes it drags us down because it's not actually what we really need, but we'll try to justify it and make excuses. Sometimes poor behavior. Because we're like, yeah, but they had this as a kid. And a lot of people do it, like I said, but Saggy's emphasis on the Saggy.
Yeah, my daughter's a Sagittarius.
Oh my God,
so
love her.
All of this speaks to me 100% because the curiosity is there. The wanting to always learn is there.
Yes.
And with her, the blunt, brutal honesty is real.
And it's like, how old is she?
11.
Oh God. Oh my God. Yeah. That was when I started getting like really embodying of the, my mother is a Sag.
Okay.
And yes, she's like butting heads. You guys are sister signs.
Yeah.
You and your daughter.
Yeah.
I love that.
Mm-hmm.
No, I would love to hear more about that. But my mom, we butt heads hard because she's the same way. And I'm like, dude, my dad, he's the Aquarius. He's like, I'm getting out of the room. I cannot, this is too much for me. That brutal honesty is very real. And a lot of times it's like knee jerk. We just say it. You'll never be guessing. We just say exactly how we feel. We don't mean to hurt anyone, but sometimes we accidentally do. And there's like the self-awareness that has to go into that. So I've learned to just like shut your mouth. Don't say anything. Let people speak. And I have issues with that sometimes, but we'll be the first to apologize though. I will say that. I will literally be the first to be like, I am so sorry for what I said. I will all the time because I don't ever want to hurt someone's feelings.
Because it's always done in love from what I see. It's always done in love.
It is. Some people have horrible experiences with Sagittarius. So for those listening who have, I'm not trying to make excuses for us.
No, I think you could say that about every sign. I think there's negative, perceivably negative qualities for all three of our sun signs.
For sure. And I think it also, you just couple that too with emotional intelligence. So how do you grow as a human to identify how you can be a better human? Because these things are innate, the delivering of the bluntness. But as we age, to your point, Kat, we can catch ourselves before we can say it in our brain and be like, yeah, that we'll just hold on to that for a minute, and maybe we'll say it in a different way.
Well, and when you're living in gratitude, I think that becomes a lot easier to do because you're existing in a different internal dialogue.
There's the reactiveness is not nearly as much. It's like, okay, like I'm going to be good no matter what anyone says. Like I'm good. And I think that's another strength of a Sagittarius is we're very independent and we think very independently about at least ourselves. Like no one's ever going to tell me who I am, basically. I can learn from people. I'm not saying I'm perfect. I'm open to learning more about myself, as we know always, but no one's ever going to tell me like how I think or how I feel or what to do with my life. I want you to do what you want with your life. I'll, enjoy that ride with you from afar or nearby, depending on who you are in my life. And like, that's great. And then we can share it together. How fun is that? I grew up in a kind of a space of control. So that was really, really difficult for me because I'm like, these people are trying to tower over me and tell me where to go and what to do. It was so misaligned with me. And so Pennsylvania Junkie, for example, is very much an expression of freedom.
That independence. So I have two questions.
You can 100% see that in the work that you do too. And that's so beautiful that you're able to channel that.
Well, for sure. Because, okay, now I have three things, but I'm going to start in order for my questions because it brings up the solo travel that you highlight a lot. But I also wanted to touch on, you kind of started to touch on the fact that you were probably around 11 when you started like leaning into the zodiac. How old were you when you really started to get curious about astrology and your zodiac?
Consciously, actually way later.
And
I was just telling my friend the other day, I'm like, years ago, we never really talked about this stuff. I think social media has played a huge role in this. I think that's actually a cool side of social media, just exposing people to more of the spiritual nature of this, right? Like you guys are doing this. I love the work you're doing. I really do. It's amazing. Especially for someone so spiritually centric. It's just cool to see. I didn't start really diving into it until a few years back. I'm 33 now, probably let's just say late 20s. I was like, interesting. Like I didn't know my big three, as they call it, your sun, your moon, and your rising sign. I didn't know that until a couple years ago. I didn't know what that was. I'm like, what is that? And I started seeing these videos on TikTok. Like, oh, your rising sign, and where's your Mercury, and what's your Mars in, and Venus, and all these things. And I'm like, this is really interesting. And then what really sold me too, and maybe it's the earthy Capricorn in me. Almost my whole chart is in Capricorn. So I tend to come off from the outside world as very cold and unapproachable. But I'm like actually a golden retriever. I'm like, no. I just love to have fun. I love to dance. I'm very free like that, very free spirited. I do have a side of me that's more business oriented, but I didn't need to be sold on astrology. I'm open to it. But I watched this video and I was really in the moment of building my business at that time with Pennsylvania Junkie. And it was like, oh, billionaires use the planetary rule, like people who are very successful, basically, financially. And I was really healing my relationship with money at that time. And I'm like, this is interesting. And so I went in a deep dive, as I do, and got hyperfixated with my undiagnosed ADHD. And I started learning all about, or it's a very real thing. I started learning all about this stuff. And I'm not an expert. I would never say that. You guys know a lot more than I do. But I just think it's so interesting the way that the moon can affect our mood. And I don't know. Maybe it's the moon made me. Your mug says the moon made me do it. No, I love that. I also have a side of me that's like this. I said this earlier. I kind of hinted at this. These are all, to me, 3D tools. We are all on this planet together, trying to make sense of our own individual journeys and realities. And so I think sometimes people lean on the Bible, right? Sometimes people lean on journaling and therapy and meditation. Sometimes people explore the planetary. That said, I do believe the atmospheric influence is real. 1000%. I mean, there's a reason for centuries people have said the moon, like, oh, it's a full moon, people are going to be crazy tonight. It's I've seen it. I've literally, now that I'm aware of it and conscious, I'm just going to sit here and see how people act today.
Especially as women, for sure.
Yes.
We're very, very attuned to that.
Yeah. So the other thing that and this is still in this same vein, and I felt this a lot too when I was getting ready to graduate high school, is I could not wait to get out of the small town that I grew up in. I could not wait to embrace that independence, freedom. I had done some traveling before I graduated from high school, and everyone, like, I graduated in 2001 when that stupid song was like, that graduation song, come together.
Oh my God. As we go.
Yeah. Oh,
yeah.
God. And everyone's crying.
Wait, what song is this?
Oh, I'd have to look it up. It's not a good song.
I don't need that kind of voodoo in my life.
And
It's High C, isn't it? Isn't that what their name is?
Yes, High C. Yeah.
High
And
C?
it's like where everyone's
People
crying
did
because
cry
like they're
over
like,
that.
oh, we graduated, whatever. And I was like, peace, fuckers. Like, I could not wait to get out of high school fast enough.
That is exactly how I was. Wow.
Yeah.
That's weird.
Yeah.
That's exactly my experience.
Yeah.
Yeah. I didn't even go to high school graduation.
I was
So
like,
that'll tell you everything you
Neither
need
did
to
my
know.
husband.
and I mean, and it's not because I didn't
Yeah.
like the experience or the people, but I was just so ready to
Mhm.
just go. Like, I was like, okay,
1000%.
let's do this next thing.
Right. So we all have different sun signs, but we're all rising in Capricorn.
Yeah.
And we all had,
You're Cap Rising too?
Oh yeah. I'm Scorpio
What?
Cap.
I'm Gemini,
Oh.
Cap.
You're double Cap too?
Yeah.
What? Oh, and I got that Leo moon though, which is so chaotic. So beyond. I can't. I wish. I was like, this makes the moon sign really. They say it's the way what you process your emotions.
Correct.
Like the moon dictates the emotional, and I'm like, ooh, fire here, like fire sun, fire moon, and then that Capricorn Earth though that fills up literally 85% of my chart, probably more, 90% of my chart. I think she is like means business, and she's like, get your shit together, like stay grounded.
Yeah. Well,
Stay grounded. But that's so real. Like that freedom of getting out.
Yeah.
I was like, I can't get out of here fast enough.
no, I couldn't either. And when
Yeah.
you said that, I was like, oh,
Yes.
I love that is also shifting because I love wine and I was raised
love
by
wine.
2 chefs. So like my expression of love is to eat. We're going to eat here shortly after this wraps. So I love to experience food and drink. Like that is my, if you want to say it's
Love
a
language.
weakness, I will pick that. I can't be on a diet. I struggle with anything that where it's like restricting when it comes to food and drink because I'm like, no, I'm having this human experience and I love to eat all the things.
As you should.
Yeah, as I should.
I'm here for that 100. I don't restrict myself.
No.
People are like, oh, I'm on a diet today. I'm like, that sucks for you.
Yeah.
I'm like, I'm so sorry. That fucking sucks. And I would
Could I
hate
have
that.
your wine, please? Thank you.
I'll eat it.
You
Like,
won't be
I'm
needing
sorry.
this anymore.
I just think, listen, the more you shift your energy into joy, and I'm not like sitting here eating pints of ice cream. Listen, no judgment at all. But
No, for
I-
sure.
right, like I started doing practices of like, I can eat and enjoy whatever I want and I'll still be active and healthy and youthful. And I am.
Yes.
And like, that's it. I mean, that's all I can ask for. I don't care if I have a little extra loving
No,
around the
yeah,
mid. I
absolutely
don't care at all. But
I
good
don't
for
know
you.
anybody
I love
that
that.
like indulges in pierogies and doesn't tend
Has-
to put that
is
somewhere
super
a little
skinny.
bit.
I like it. I like that's where you went. Oh, the pierogi.
Well, no, because let's touch
I love
on
it.
it. People, if they're
Oh.
listening and they're like, "What is a pierogi? Where do
Oh.
I find them?" Pennsylvania
That's-
is like I would say the pierogi capital of the whole country.
I didn't
Yes.
know about pierogies until I moved to Pennsylvania because I did not
see?
grow up here, and I moved to
telling you.
Pennsylvania when I was in high school, and I was like, "What is this witchery?"
Yes.
It is witchcraft. It's
is.
really like Polish, Slovak, well, Polish mostly
Mhm.
witchcraft.
Yep.
And it's phenomenal. I mean, I grew up eating mounds of pierogi at Grandma Lucille's. That's the Polish side of the family, Slovak, Polish, Hungarian, at least from what I've researched and studied. Because, I'm always studying. I'm always trying to find things out. I remember I would eat like 7 pierogi and she's like, you want more? I was like 7 years old. And I'm like, yeah, I'm still hungry. Like I've always just enjoyed. I love food. I love
Yes.
the caramelized onions on top.
Yes, I was just
Give
gonna
me it
say-
all. Halushki. Oh my god,
All
yeah.
of it.
Please,
We
please.
have some in the fridge. Jeff made it. He was giving me
Oh.
shit for it the last week because he's like, you bought turkey kielbasi. I was like, it still tastes delicious. He comes in the bedroom. He's like, it tastes like bologna. And I was like, I don't see the problem here. Like, we're from Pittsburgh. Like, if it tastes like bologna, that still is delicious. Have you ever had a fried bologna sandwich?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, absolutely. That was like growing up all the time. Yeah. I'm just going to have bologna sandwich, fried bologna sandwich. Yeah.
You grew up in Johnstown.
Correct?
Yeah.
Which isn't technically like Pittsburgh-ese, but also it definitely is because...
Oh, it's close. It's close enough. Yeah.
It infiltrates into those areas. Yeah. So I grew up with a bunch of Yinzer talk.
Yeah.
All the time. Yeah. 100%.
Yeah. I love to have people come and take them to some of the staples, even though like Permani's, Sam said it best the other day. He was telling his buddies, like, it's the most overrated sandwich you'll ever find.
Totally
it
agree.
is, but it's also delicious. Maybe it's even more delicious if you might be a little drunk, but I still love a good Permani sandwich.
All right, so I'm going to throw this out here. I have some rapid fire questions when we get to the end, but one of them is, what's your number one must try Pennsylvania food?
Oh, well, pierogi. I mean, I don't know if that's really a PA food, but I'm not going to say cheesesteak. I don't know. Cheesesteaks just don't really do it for me. I don't mind them. But
I will also say nothing Philadelphia does anything for me. So I know it's part of our state, but
I just don't. I don't know if pierogi is acceptable because that's not technically a PA thing, but we've adopted that.
I think we'll go with it. I think
we have a bunch of immigrant children here.
Yes.
So
pierogi.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I don't know if you caught that, Cat, but I am not a big fan of Philadelphia at all.
I don't think a lot of people from the, well, actually, but you grew up like in Gettysburg, right?
I did.
Yeah. So you were kind of closer to the Philly.
I am closer to Philadelphia than I am to Pittsburgh where they live.
Yeah.
But my dad grew up in Pittsburgh. So I have a lot of family here. So I grew up coming here as a kid. But I didn't really have a disdain for Philly until I was in college. And I had some boy break my heart. And then I was like, you know what? Fuck Philadelphia. And ever since then,
that was it.
That was a done deal.
You know what? Honestly, that guy, fuck that guy.
That's right.
Fuck that guy. If you're listening, guys,
we're not over it. No, so is that your fixation with the Philly hate, or what? Is it something else?
No, it was definitely that dude.
Got it.
So,
got it. He ruined it. I'm pissed at this guy.
Yeah.
We're coming for you, man.
I mean, I've definitely washed my hands of him a few times, cut cords over the years, just to let go of all of that and take my power back. But to think that I almost became an Eagles fan just makes me.
That's really, you were really in it.
I know my mic is Jason Kelsey. I know.
We've named our microphones.
That was a different episode. It's Jason and Travis Kelsey.
You did.
We did.
Oh my God. They have a great podcast though.
They do. They have a fantastic podcast. And I liked his energy on the Eagles. He's a special, fun guy. Like, I love his energy. Yeah. He's about as authentic as they get too.
Well, yeah, it's funny. My girlfriend, when he was out, this whole Taylor Swift thing, whatever. Well, they were out at the club after the game or whatever. And he was like, I don't know what he was doing, like jumping up and down. And my girlfriend sent me the video of Jason Kelsey jumping up and down. She's like, this could not be more you.
Yes.
Like, yeah, that's literally me. Like, I love that energy. I love his vibe because I'm always the one, clubs anymore. But I'm like, let's go. I love one. I met this guy recently.
I don't know.
I
did see you dancing in
I'm
Key
always
West.
clubbing. I'm not always clubbing, but I will club. Like, if you say let's go to a club, I'm there. Where are my shoes?
In our next episode of Clubbing with Cat.
Yeah.
Oh my God, we should start a PA Junkie series.
There we go.
Oh, nightclubs. Oh my God. No, I love to dance.
The old biddies going to the club. I'd have to be in fucking flats.
Like, listen, it keeps me young, okay?
Do you dance in heels?
Yeah. Listen, people are like, oh my God, what's your skincare routine? I'm like, clubbing. Like, seriously, clubbing is my skincare routine. I want to be a DJ. Like, that's also another thing I've always wanted to do. I would rock that shit. I know it. I would be so good. Like,
I feel that energy. Yeah.
So Kat recently started having meetups because her fans are like, we need to see you in real life and we want to meet up, which I think is great. And I love that you are doing that. Did you pick a soundtrack to have played while you were at your meetup?
No. We didn't have any music.
Oh, okay.
I know. You would be surprised to know that we really didn't. We didn't have, it was at this place in Lancaster called Decades. So it's a bar/arcade in Lancaster. And it was actually so fun. I don't know that music would have been good now looking back because I hadn't met anyone yet. We were talking and it was such a big place too. So I was super awkward. Of course, I was like fully expecting me to be awkward. And I'm like, Kat, switch your energy. Like maybe be a little more confident. And I'm like, oh my God, I suck. So like I walked in and these people were just like all over. And I'm like, I was very overwhelmed because they're there. Like people I talk to in the DMs all the time are in front of me. And it was like, I was very overcome with emotion. I didn't know how to handle myself. I'm like, oh my God, I'm going to embarrass myself. I don't know why I was just very overwhelmed.
Well, do you find that even though you are this personality online, that in real life, sometimes that energy it's a lot. So you just kind of like retreat a little bit to be like,
it is when you're in person. I mean, I feel so much. So I'm like, I just have, guys know, how when you feel energy, I'm like, I just get very overcome. It was all good energy, I swear. Like I would tell you if there was like any bad energy in the room, it was great. And it was very like high vibrational. And I was like, oh, I love this. But it still can be super overwhelming too. So, but yeah, I guess on PA Junkie, I'm still very much me. Like I'll literally have voice message exchanges with some of my followers. That's just really important to me. I can't be anything else. I'm not going to be short with people. Oh yeah, I don't have time for you. Like that's just not me. I love meeting people and I love people. My mom's like, you're like the only one in our family who actually enjoys meeting people. But I do. I just think I just like having conversation. Like what am I doing here? I feel like it's fun. It's fun and it's interesting. And so I'm very much that way online, but you're right. Like being in person, it's just different.
Well, especially if they're all there to meet you and you're just like, how am I going to be everything to everyone in this session, right? And
I felt uncomfortable because I was like, I'm just me. Like,
but that's all you need to be is you. You just need to be you because that's what they're there for.
But I felt like I was going to an event where I was meeting people. I'm like, it's not my event. You know what I mean? It was like, I couldn't fully embrace that. And we had name tags and shit. My Virgo girlfriend, Trista, she's like, I'll make name tags. Give me a job. I'm like, of course you would. She would want a job. She's a Virgo. So she's like, give me a job. And I love her for it because I'm just all over the place sometimes. And so we had name tags, which was really cool. But I was like, oh my God, this is like really, like, this is official. This is really happening. And I'm like, just here, hey, like, hi.
Did you have imposter syndrome?
I have battled with that. I don't know.
I hate that term. I
actually do too. You're right. I don't love that term
I wish
either.
there was something else that we could say because we're not imposters.
Well, I feel like it's like super overused now too. And it's so saturated that when I hear the word, I'm just like, ugh.
Yeah.
Well, like everything is so overused now. Like everyone is everything now. It's like, oh my God, it's like, oh my God, what if they're not though? How about this? How about we're all just really fucked up people? Not like in a bad way, but we all have fucked up things that have happened to us. And how about we're trying our best to our capacity and we meet someone and they're also trying their best and maybe their best isn't your best and maybe it doesn't align, but just maybe take it at face value and say, is this good for me? Or is it not? And then you can walk away or stay. Like, how about that? It's actually pretty simple.
I think that is great. Those are great words of advice for people.
Well, that's also like the people pleaser. Like, I don't want to ever, it's recovering. I'm recovering. I still have moments.
Mm-hmm. Like, for sure.
Dude, just say no. Like, it's a full sentence. Like,
right. Yes,
you don't, there's no, but no, like, just, it's okay. Like, you can just let them know. No, that's all right.
Yep.
Like,
That's just.
And I actually, one time I said that to another person who's recovering from people pleasing, and she was like, you're really cold. No, I'm setting a boundary. I'm not cold. I'm setting a boundary. And it took me a really long time to do that for myself.
Yes.
So, like, bow down, bitches. No, I'm like, no, I'm like, no, I truly, it took me so long. So I don't want to go back. You know?
Well,
like,
we can't, right?
No.
Like, we can't go back to a former version of ourselves. After you left your last, let's say, corporate job or, job where somebody was giving you a paycheck. This is something I've been struggling with. Kristen and I have talked about this because she's a serial entrepreneur. Like, she's been an entrepreneur for, like she said, like over 14 years. I'm just starting. I still say I'm just starting. And I find myself struggling from time to time saying I'm an entrepreneur. And I don't know if there's anything that you could share about your journey for listeners out there that are curious about starting their own initiative and getting out on their own. And, what would be something that you could tell a younger version of yourself to when the times are tough or when things are looking a little, I don't know, to say, stick with it. You got this.
You just had me play a whole montage reel of the darkest times. Business ownership, it will bring up some of the darkest parts of you. The shadow parts of yourself come out. You're like things that you didn't even know existed within you. You're like, oh my God, I didn't know I had that limitation. Oh my God, I didn't know I had that fear. So again, it goes back to, you have to learn how to sink into these resistances that your body's trying to go through or fight, I should say, as a form of quote unquote protection. It's going to challenge your every belief because it's like, wait a minute, I'm not used to this. I'm not comfortable. I was broke off my ass, for example, a few years back, all of a few years ago. And I remember I was like, what am I going to do? And every time I opened my bank account, it was in the red. That red color was like so triggering to me. And I remember I had so many days where I'm like, I'm never going to make money. I can't even like say it right now because it's so not me. Like I don't even know that person anymore, but I get it. I understand it. I have a lot of compassion for people going through that process. But for me, money was a thing, like a big thing. We didn't talk about money where I grew up, not in my family. Like my mother was very proud. My mother was the breadwinner. Don't talk about it. I learned you're going to have to fucking talk about this. You're going to have to start talking about money. The fact that, hey, your bank account is in the negative. A lot. Like you're going to have to start talking about it, getting very comfortable with that and releasing judgment around yourself. And so I started saying, it's just a color. It's just a color. It's just red. That's it. It's just red. It's a color. It's a color. And so I would say that to myself every day and like neutralize the energy. And then I was like, it'll be green in no time. Like it's going to be green. I would tell myself that instead of, oh my God, I'm never going to be, oh my God, why did I do this? It's like, no, you're going to be great. It's going to be green. It's so meant for you. You're just going through this thing called life. It's a roller coaster. It's not linear. But that didn't come until I started like really reflecting, meditation, journaling. I was angry at times and I would put it on paper. It doesn't work for everyone that way, but sometimes I would go out to a field and I would scream. Like
yes.
I know it sounds crazy, but to me, it's like you got to release the energy.
Yes.
Dancing.
No, it doesn't sound crazy at all. Yes, dance it out.
Sink into it. Sink into the worst time. I mean, it's going to fucking suck for a minute. Yep. It really will.
Yep.
Because you have to retrain your whole brain to think differently.
It's these belief systems. It's these beliefs.
Yes.
And that's what I've been struggling with is I am working. Because even my kids will be like, you get a job today, Mom? And I'm like, I have a fucking job. I have a podcast. I'm the mom to 3 of you. And I'm spinning up a business. I have a job. I have multiple jobs. I'm doing all the things.
You are.
And then they're like, oh, okay. I'm like, I'm just not bringing in any money. But like,
don't even say that. Don't even say that.
I mean, but
because
that's the thing.
You
right?
are. It's just not here today.
It's just not here today. I already have it. Like I already picture all of my credit cards with 0 balances. Like I've already started. And it's just one of those, again, it's retraining our minds. So thank you for saying that. I think that is just valuable advice. It's also rooted in reality, right? Because we don't want to have rose-colored glasses on when you know that you're going to be met with challenges, right? Like we've talked about this where I watch this woman who does dowsing rods. And so she's always asking whether it's an angel or a ascended master, whatever they call them. And most of them, if not all of them, say success does take hard work. You will not be successful unless you put in the work.
It's so crazy you're saying that because you can't get around it. And I always say it's the heart work. That's the hard work because we're so trapped in this ego all the time. The ego can support. The ego is good, actually, in ways.
We need the
like,
ego.
Okay,
you can't exist without the ego.
You guys come on a podcast. You're using ego. That's great. It's a little bit of a boost. It's wonderful. But when you get in your ego and you start projecting all of these insecurities that were learned, now I actually saw a video the other day and the guy's like, this woman's like, I'm constrained. I can't. He goes, no, you're not. He's like, you created constraint. That didn't even exist. You actually created it. You went along with the narrative and now you perpetuated it. It actually isn't even real. You created it. You can uncreate it. You can uncreate this constraint that you're in. You're not actually in it. Like, you don't even actually have to be in fear. You just created that.
Well, fear is an acronym. Have you heard this where fear is an acronym?
Oh, I have heard that. Yeah.
False
what is
evidence appearing real.
Yeah, false evidence appearing real. Correct. Yeah, it is true. You know, it's funny. I was on my spiritual conscious, I call it my conscious spiritual journey, started in 2018 when I started therapy. Yes. And therapy is not even for everybody. Sometimes therapy is very triggering for people. Like whoever's listening, you should do what's best for you.
So I want to go back to something that you've touched on a couple of times without actually saying it. And that is how important the vocabulary is in manifesting your world and creating your life. You've talked about the constraint. You've talked about what we're saying. Like, don't even say that. Like, don't even put it out there. And Rachel, to what you were talking about with the entrepreneur, we've talked about this on a previous podcast where, but let's say people are CEOs, right? And I heard this on another podcast. And then that's all they know. They're like, I've been a CEO. They've labeled themselves as such. They get laid off from that job. Now they've lost their identity because they didn't really see what they are, which is a person that builds connections or a person that's good at that. So I really don't think it even gives you space. Like, take yourself out of it and don't call yourself an entrepreneur. I don't call myself an entrepreneur. I
literally thought that exact same thing when you asked that question. I thought that exact, stop labeling it.
Yes.
Because
it doesn't serve
like you said before, it reduces the ability to expand, it locking you into a place. And if that person put their entire identity into their corporate role. I had a healing session years ago and I said, I don't know my purpose. I remember because I was seeing all these videos. Here we go again, seeing all this content. And this woman on the line, she said, yeah, you do. No, I actually really don't. She goes, Kat, you're overcomplicating this. Your purpose is to be an expression of love. And I have chills all over my body. I know that sounds so cliche and maybe silly, but when I really thought about that, I was like, oh my fucking God, I've been so trapped in my ego.
Yes.
I've been thinking about money. I've been thinking about what job am I going to do next and where, oh my God, I've been thinking about all these things that actually don't even fucking matter. It does to support us. And I'm not saying don't think about those things, but oh my God, my purpose is to be an expression of love. That's fucking amazing. And however that manifests for me in the physical, wow.
And right now,
that's so fucking cool.
It's so cool. And right now it manifests for you in being a pathfinder. You're exploring, you're finding all of these paths and you're sharing them with people.
And these adventures.
Right. And for me, I have found that each part of my business and each thing that I kind of do as a career in my life, so to speak, is really about me sharing my experiences and being a creator, my own architect of my life, being free. That's my passion. That's my purpose. It's not to just be a photographer or just be a podcast producer or just be a music teacher or whatever it is that I am doing at the time. It's just to be me and express that in this way of sharing through my own experiences and creating through my own experiences. And there's nothing wrong with that. In fact, and everything that makes me stronger as a person when I lean into that versus being like, oh, well, she doesn't work a 9 to 5. Yeah, fuck your 9 to 5. Have you not listened to Dolly Parton's song?
I freaking love that. That is so. Also, by the way, every Gemini I know is a business owner. I swear to God. And you guys are so fucking good at it too. You guys are so fast. Swear to God, every single one of you. And I'm like, my friend Scott, he's incredible. I'm like, I can't keep up with you guys. Like, you're always like, just the wheel is always turning. And I'm like, I thought I was creative. I'm like, oh my God.
It's been such a blessing to have Kristen in my space.
No, yes, that's such a great person to have in your life. And it's truly, you guys are just very strong personalities and you have all these different things you can contribute together. Having that support in, I have friends who are like, I want to start this and I want to do this. And the trapped feeling it's so real. And what I'm saying when we switch the narrative and let go of constraint, let go of the fear that doesn't even belong to you. Just say it doesn't belong to me. This isn't even mine because it's not yours. That shit is so much easier said than done because this has been since 2018 for me. It's 2024. I still have times when I'm like, nope, no, that's old you. Stop. outdated. It expired. That
Okay,
is
so
not us.
let's talk about the new you, and let's talk about your Patreon, because
New-
that's part of this whole thing.
No, it is. So I had a Patreon account for a while, and it was just a way to connect. Now I'm kind of taking more of a little bit of a business angle with it. No shame in saying that. It's a monthly charge. It's like a membership platform. If you guys are, familiar with Patreon, you basically select a tier, you pay monthly to support a creator. And it's going to be all of this exclusive content that you can't find on social media. I'm even going to have a paranormal tier. So it's going to be all. I know. I'm really excited about
I mean, I'm excited for that too. But when you went to that one place and I really connected with you and I was like, what? You did not do any protection before you went there? I mean, she went to some fucked up.
I'm here for it.
That was bad.
She got sick.
I know you told me this story.
I'm here for it.
I'm here for it.
I love that so much.
She's way more into that than I am.
I mean, here's the thing. The paranormal stuff, as you move along this life, it affects me a lot. That's why I never started. Years ago, I was like, oh, I should start a paranormal channel. And then I'm like, as I started doing energy healing and stuff, I'm like, hell to the no. You just start opening yourself up energetically so much more. And so you're just so much more prone, you guys know this, to attracting energies. It's not that they're bad. It's just that they're not necessarily good energy. It's more of a low vibe where they're sad and it can really fuck you up. It can really bring you down. I actually heavily debated going to that place because I read about and researched the history and I'm like, oh God, I don't know about this. I don't know how these people stay sane here. Like Eileen, the owner, she's amazing. They are very attracted to her too. She's a very bright light. And I'm like, oh God, this dark energy is just
how did you feel once you purged that energy though and moved? Oh
my God, so much better. I vomited at 2-3 in the morning after I got back. I got back around 11:30 at night, and I vomited at I couldn't stop vomiting from 2 to 3:30, and I'm like, this has never happened. I don't get sick, but
clearly you had something internally in your body that this helped to get out.
Yes, which is kind of a blessing because in other ways, it's not always manifesting in physical. It could manifest mentally too. You're all of a sudden you're just really depressed and you're like, what the fuck? Why am I feeling like this? It can just bring you down when an energy attaches to you. But you guys, we were saying earlier, you guys were saying about how we are energetic beings. I really believe that to be true. No doubt. When you see someone and you're like, I don't know, you're feeling a certain way about it. Physically, you're like, something is stopping me from communicating with them.
I've met people that I knew was the last time I was going to see them.
Yeah, absolutely. That's Scorpio. My sister's a Scorpio. You guys are so freaking intuitive. Even with just yourselves, right away. You're like, no, that's not gonna work for me. I love that. I think that's awesome. Yeah, it's a great. No, it is. It is. Yeah. Some people might be like, wow, what a bitch. But again, my sister gets that. I'm like, oh yeah, she just knows. She's not gonna waste her time. Love it.
So for people that want to embrace their Sagittarius energy, why did I say it like that? Sagittarius.
We have to because it is.
We didn't even. We're calling this the Sag Vag, and we haven't even talked about vaginas.
I was thinking about the agenda, and I was like, man, how are we going to just weave the vag right in here?
Were we supposed to talk about the vag?
It wasn't really in the agenda, but we did. But we did talk about dick ticks, so there's that.
we did.
I'd much rather talk about the vagina.
Sag veg.
Right.
God. Oh my God, I love it. No, how do you embrace your saggy energy? Just be a free spirit and take it all in. I honestly, somebody says, be a yes person. Not to the point where this is a fine balance, right? Because my mom is a Sag. She said, never leave a stone unturned. Take any opportunity you get. That was my whole life. And I love that she taught me that because I got so many cool things in return. Even if they weren't aligned, I still learned something. So just always know, I'm going to try it. Just fucking try it. You might not like it, but at least you know now. And what did you take from it? Something. You always learn something. Just lead with optimism. That's the way we live.
That is the Sagittarius spirit is the eternal optimist.
100%
learner.
Everything
explorer.
Is great. Yep. Everything is something we learn, and people hate that shit because they don't want to think about it that way. But I fucking love it. I'm like, I learned this. It didn't actually work for me, but I fucking took this from it, and now I can use it here. It's
right.
awesome.
Exactly.
Yeah, I love it.
Do you have rapid fired questions?
I kind of just a couple.
Okay. I love these.
Okay. Mountains or rivers?
Oh God, both. Oh, can I say both?
Yeah.
Mountains or rivers?
A mountain by a
Well, I
river.
should say, I'll say river because water is very healing. It's very helpful.
Favorite season?
Fall.
Got some fall
winter,
girlies here.
but I am a winter girly too. So. But fall. I would say fall.
Okay. Favorite place you've traveled in Pennsylvania?
Oh my God. Favorite place I traveled?
I know.
I hate this question. Everywhere. This is not a question I can answer.
So where have you not traveled in Pennsylvania?
Oh my God. So many places. So many, like, we have all these small towns. So many freaking places. I'm trying to think of like a big one I haven't been to. The bigger, like larger areas, sure, I've hit most of them. Oh, you know where I have to go for Christmas? Warren, PA.
Oh, up near Erie.
Yeah.
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 Yeah, because
Was it
they have
in
like
Butler
the Dickinson
County?
carolers and stuff.
I think it's Warren County.
Yeah.
It actually is. It's a county.
Not
Warren,
in Butler,
is
you
it?
dumbass. It's in Warren.
Warren County.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
what I was like, oh, is that in Butler County? And Kristen's like, no, Warren.
What Warren, PA isn't a town?
It is in Warren County, I believe.
Okay.
Yeah.
That makes, Butler, PA is in Butler County.
Yes.
Yeah, wow. Okay.
Look at us.
Hello.
We're just
We're so freaking smart. Wow. Oh my God.
Washington is also in Washington County.
Wow.
Oh, have you been to Washington?
Yes.
Okay.
You mean Washington, D.C.?
No, Washington,
Oh.
PA, down here by us.
Actually, no. I
Okay.
thought you meant D.C. I'm like, yeah.
No, yeah, Washington, PA.
No, I don't think I have. actually.
W&J College is down there. It's actually I don't want to say there's so much, but there's so much history. There's so much history in Pennsylvania in general.
100%. I do love Gettysburg. That's like one of my favorite places.
So
I do.
We went
I
there
really do.
over the weekend. My son really wanted to go to Devil's Den because he had heard about Hocking Hills in Ohio, where there's like the Devil's Basin or whatever. And I was like, fuck Hocking Hills. I was like, you want to talk about some scary ass shit? Well, just go to Gettysburg over by Lola and Papaps. And so we went.
Well, you just really went hard against Hocking Hills.
I did. Well, again,
Really pissed about that.
it's no, I haven't actually been. I'd love to go. But I was basically saying, I don't think Hocking Hills has anything on like the supernatural, if you're comparing it to Gettysburg. Like Gettysburg might be one of the places in all of the United States that has paranormal activity that is off the chart. So we went to Devil's Den and Graham was like, this isn't scary. And I was like, I didn't say it was scary. I just said that there's a lot of stuff that's happened here. And if we had a guide with us right now telling you some stories, I'm telling you right now, you'd be pretty fucking scared. It was so cool. The rocks. And I grew up there. I grew up going there, but I had no recollection of where it was in relation to Little Round Top, which was where the Union had to hold Little Round Top to win the war. And this was right after this is the battle at Little Round Top where thousands of men died. Robert E. Lee surrendered, basically.
Yes.
The history was just ridiculous, but the rocks themselves, the formation of the rocks from a geological standpoint also have great significance. So that was not lost on me when we went this weekend. And I was like pulling so much positive energy from them, even though thousands of men died on these rocks and in these rocks and around these rocks. It was a beautiful space.
I felt the exact same energy when I went to Seminary Ridge.
Yeah, I
was like, this is so peaceful. I don't know what.
Yes.
It was weird. I felt the exact same way.
Yeah,
I'm like,
the
wow,
rocks,
what a weird.
I just was like I was surprised too because I had done like some serious protection on the drive there. It was like, you must protect yourself. Please be around me, Archangel Michael. Like I was calling on all the people to like ground and protect me because you know how I am very susceptible. And it was beautiful. It was so beautiful. I did not get that same energy when we went up on Little Round Top. When we drove up there, I was like, this does not have the same energy as Devil's Den did. It was incredible. And I think that those, when you get around those rocks that are the age and the size, I'll show you some material and content. But to your point, Kat, Gettysburg
I think it's that duality that gets me. It's like it's so charming.
Mm-hmm.
And there's like a lot of darker history there. I think I just like that whole dynamic. I don't know. It is weird. I think that's why I like it so much. Now that we're talking about this, that really could be why.
Well,
I'm very drawn to it.
I think the paranormal part of your Patreon is that's going to take off because people love that stuff. And there's so much history and there's so much that can continue to be discovered there. Even though it's history and it's all written, there's so many things that still happen now that will be discovered. So many stories that have yet to be told that happened in that neck of the woods.
Well, we're thankful for you sharing your story with us and sharing your energy with us today.
I know this has been fantastic. It just
so
flew
great.
by.
Yeah,
this was awesome. Thank you guys so much. I'm so excited. I just see all the success for you. I told you this earlier. I was like, oh my God, these two are gonna like blow up. It really, truly, like it's already yours. I was listening to some of the episodes when you guys reached out to me initially. I'm like, I love this. You guys are so organic. Like that's just so important. I can't stress that enough. I love how natural you are. You're just yourselves.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I have goosebumps.
I know.
Expression of love. And it's truly an expression of love.
It is.
It really is.
When you were talking about when that healer gave you that information, and even though you knew it, it was like validating, right? Because that's why we go to healers, is to validate what we already fucking know. But sometimes it's nice to hear someone else also say it. And I have always known that too, that I have a servant heart. I grow and I am brought so much comfort by giving to others. I was talking to my good friend earlier about absorbing the abundance that I have been gifted this past birthday from my friends and family and not feeling shame for it. I think a lot of prior to that, I would receive a gift and I would be like, oh, thank you so much. But then if I got another gift, I'd be like, oh, that's too much. No. And my husband gifted me a laptop for my birthday and a trip to Key West. And I'm like, I am here for this. Thank you so much. My parents gifted me money for my birthday that I then gifted myself a tattoo. And I'm like, I'm here for this. I can absorb this. This is all happening for me. I don't need to feel shame around it.
I need to hear that myself. Receiving is very hard for me.
Yes.
Same.
I feel like, well, so many of us have this problem.
Yes.
Like, it's like, oh my God, asking for help. Don't even get me started. I'm like, oh God, no.
Or opening gifts in front of people.
Oh God, no. And I am forever indebted to you. I will literally I will bow down to you and feed you great. Like, I just feel like I overcompensate.
You know what? I just got to download that. I think Cat is our Sag Vag forever. So next year, we're going to have you on again to deep dive into all the things.
I love it. Maybe we can be in person next time.
That sounded so wrong of me. I'm like, I love a Sag Vag. Like, what? Girl, what are you talking about?
It sounded like a sad vag at first. You're like, I really love a sad vag.
Unfortunately, I love men. I really have thought. I was like, can I be a lesbian? Like, no, there's absolutely
I don't know
no
any
way.
woman that has not had that thought go through her brain at once or twice to be like, fuck this noise. Am I a lesbian? I love women.
Trust me, I tried really hard to think about that. I was like, I can't. Like, I can't. I don't have that.
Yeah, I did.
I love women, but I just don't. Yep. No, I love tick dicks.
I do love
a tick dick.
Yep. I'm here for that too. There's no going back.
Oh my God.
All right, let's end it on that. That sounds like a good, fun place to end.
Full circle.
Thank you guys so much for being here, listening to us with Cat Janisko from the Pennsylvania Junkie. She has Instagram, TikTok, right?
Yep, Instagram and TikTok. And Facebook.
And Facebook.
I'm not as active there, so.
Go like her, love her, watch her, just absorb her energy because it is fan-fucking-tastic.
Yes.
Oh, I love you guys. Same.
Bye-bye. We love you. Bye.